Hey guys, I just wanted to make it clear really quick before this video starts that we're talking about mental health crisis here. We are not talking about how any specific mental health diagnosis suddenly disqualifies you from being able to take care of pets properly. This is just about crisis situations where you're no longer functioning. Alright, that's it.
Hey guys, it's been a minute. I have been traveling. Sorry, Nemo's trying to open the door. I'm making sure he can do it. Do you need help? You got this. You can do it. I believe in you. He did it. So proud of him. I've been traveling, went to a friend's wedding in California, so drove there and drove back, and got to see one of my friends in Arizona. I've had horrible experiences in Arizona every time I've gone, so I thought I was cursed to always have a bad time there, but it went well this time. So the curse that you guys weren't even aware of has ended. Yay! I brought Maui with me for this video because I was like, I'll have an animal with me while talking about this. Let's pick a chill one that'll just hang out with me. The one time I want him to be chill, he will not stop moving. He just wants to explore. So we'll see how long he lasts with me. I don't know. I don't know how long this video will be. It could be really short. I can always talk. That is one thing that I'm never deficient in, is yapping. But I thought this was an important topic that I've been thinking about a little bit lately. So as you may know, you may have just missed it. It was really easy to miss. It was just a really brief period. But I had some mental health struggles over the years. And one thing that definitely does not go well together is mental health struggles and taking care of things. Mainly for me, it was depression, addiction, and a very long dissociative episode where I just lost all personality and didn't know who I was and had no passions and it was a mix of all three of those things together. It really wasn't good. But like I said, you may have missed it. It was just a really short period, you know? During that time, I was not taking care of myself. I was not brushing my teeth. I was not showering. The term bed rotting means a whole nother thing to me. Okay? To the point where we had to throw out my mattress because I really put the rot in bed rotting. So at the time I was going through that, a lot of people were understandably so concerned about my animals and my ability to take care of them. Because if I was, I couldn't even take care of myself, how in the hell am I gonna take care of the amount of animals that I had, let alone just even one animal? So I wanted to talk about it because on one hand, I do think animals can be really good for your mental health. I think if you're struggling, if you're depressed, they give you a companion, they give you something, a purpose, a reason to get up, something to care for, something you can bond with, even if you're not socializing. There's a lot of benefits with having an animal if you struggle with mental health. But there's a line. You, of course, need to be able to efficiently take care of said animal. You can't just use it as a source to help you with your depression and to help you feel better, but not be able to give that care in return to them. There's a line, and I think I definitely crossed that line. I think I was way over the line of being able to take care of the amount of animals that I had. So hear me out, because I was in a very fortunate situation. So that brings me to the topic I wanted to discuss. And that's, how did I do it? How did I take care of my animals while dealing with all that? The answer is that I didn't, at least not on my own. I had, oh, that's his tail, not his head. There's his head. I had so much help. Luckily, even though I was in the condition that I was in, I still had resources. I had the ability to pay other people to do it, and I just had a lot of support in general. Paying people or not, there was people that I didn't pay that also helped. I think if you were in a situation like mine, that my experience is not an example of oh, so you're fine, you're good, you could take care of all your animals, because I did. No, I didn't. I didn't. So my mental health was never great. It was never perfect. But it got to a point where I stopped showering and stopped taking care of myself. That was in 2019 when I moved into my new house. And by that point, I had two people coming. One person came every single day. Another person came, I think, twice a week. I'm a little spotty on, it's been a long time. And then a third person came that just took care of my fish tank. It was someone that worked at a fish store. So I had 3 people coming in and verifying that my animals were good. It wasn't just me in my state of mind that I was in, also somehow being the one to rationally make sure my animals are getting everything they need and that there's nothing I'm overlooking, because it would be easy to overlook at that time since I was so detached from reality. Like I said, I think there's a line. My mental health has always been spotty. It's never been great. It's all over the place. But on a day-to-day basis, it never gets to that point where I'm not taking care of myself whatsoever. That was the extreme of the extreme. Every single day I thought I hit rock bottom, only to discover that I could go further the next day. It was bad, but during that time I had so much help. If you're going through a really bad mental health episode, it's okay to ask for help, not just for yourself, but for pets. It's okay to ask other people to help. Like I said, I think I was in a really fortunate situation, because if I did not have the support that I did have, I would have had to rehome all my animals. Even with the help that I had, I still rehomed half of my animals when I got out of rehab, which was the hardest choice to make on like who to rehome. There was no animal I loved less. I wanted them all to be with me, but I had to go ahead and look at their care and see which ones had more complicated and more complex care, or were more susceptible to getting sick easier, whatever it may be. I had to look at those and pick those animals first as the first ones to be rehomed. If I didn't have the help that I did, it would have had to be all of my animals. I would not have been able to take care of them in that state. And one part of me felt like I was abandoning them. I felt horrible and guilty of even getting them in the first place, just to have to give them away. It really weighed on my conscience, and it was not an easy decision, but it would have been so much worse for them had I not done that. If I had chose to keep them selfishly just because it made me feel bad to rehome them, then they would have gotten a worse life because of it. Because there would have been twice the amount of animals for not only me to take care of, but for other people to verify that they're okay. And since a lot of those were like higher care animals, the people that were helping me would have had to do even more with them. It just wouldn't have been a good situation. I'm extremely fortunate that I was able to have help through all of this, that even in that time I could have some outside sources coming in and verifying that my animals were good. Those other people could also tell me if I was lacking in their care in any way. They could tell me like, hey, you need to do this and this more. Even just little things like keeping track of the animals' weights and things that like would be the first thing to get neglected if you're starting to struggle with mental health. It just helped me stay on top of all of those things. And with my fish tank, someone came and cleaned it every single week, and they did like a whole sweep through the tank, making sure there was no algae. They tested all the water levels. They did everything to help me keep up with the tank. And that kept going until I thought I was getting better, and I stopped having the person for the tank specifically come, and that's when my tank started to fall apart. And then I realized I had to rehome the fish because I wasn't keeping up with it like I thought I could. And that sucked, but again, it's okay to admit that you're not okay. Sometimes the best thing you can do, the kindest thing you can do for the animals that you love, is get them into the care of someone that can stay on top of things, even if it's just temporary. It doesn't mean you failed them. If anything, keeping them and subjecting them to worse care would be failing them more than finding someone that can help, or finding someone to take the animal, or whatever the situation may be. If you're going through a hard time mentally, try to ground yourself in reality enough to recognize if you're keeping up with the care of your animals appropriately, and if you're not, to look into other people to take them, rescues, anything you have to do to ensure they get the amount of help and care that they need. Luckily for me, with like reptiles and stuff, as long as I'm keeping up with feeding them, making sure they have water, and keeping their enclosure clean and their temperatures right, it's not like they need physical interaction every day. So it's easier to manage if you're depressed. But for example, I had rats who, I love them so much, and they passed away of old age. They had cancer when they got to like 3 years old. They all passed away from cancer. But if I didn't have help at that time, then I would have had to rehome them for sure. But luckily, not only the outside help that was coming in, but I also lived with my parents, and they bonded a lot with my mom, and my mom would work with them every day. So even on days that I interacted with them less, they still got the same amount of daily interaction from my parents. So here's an example of what I would do. I would drag myself over to my animals. They were mostly all in my room at the time because I was living with my parents. So at least I didn't even have to leave my room for this. Drag myself over to the cages. I would go up to the cages. I'd open them up. I would make sure they have water. I would remove any waste that I saw in the tank. So today it's a shed. I would do a look over. I'd look for the actual animal that's in the enclosure. I'd pick them up, do a physical, make sure they're okay. They have dirt all over them, but they're good. Put them back in, close the tank up. Then I'd check the thermostats, make sure everyone's heat is good, and that would be it. And then I'd have someone else come in and do the exact same thing. So I would have more than one opinion, and if I missed anything, then they would take care of it. And then I also had my parents too, who did not like cages to not look perfect. Like right now, Pickle pooped on the glass. My parents would have been like, that looks gross, clean it up. So I had multiple people always coming in and, oh, I'm sorry. I knocked your little thing down, I'm sorry. So I had multiple people on top of me about this stuff. And honestly, I still don't think it was perfect because I wasn't at my best, but I still just was incredibly lucky to be in a situation where I could still have my animals and make sure that they are in good condition and that they are happy and healthy. And yeah, if it would have been any different, if I was living on my own, I would have had to get rid of all of them, for sure. 100%. And again, my fish tank is kind of perfect proof of how badly I needed other people's help at that time. The second I decided like, oh, I can make the choice to take care of this on my own, the tank crashed and I had to rehome the remaining fish. So perfect example of, even though you might think you're okay to do it on your own, you might need help. And that's okay. Ignore that my hair randomly got short. I'm just finishing up and we just wanted to add that I sometimes see people say like, well, if your mental health is bad, why did you get an animal in the first place? Like, you should know better. My mental health, as I've already mentioned, has always been bad. Diagnosed with depression when I was like 11 or 12. So always had rocky mental health, but it never ever impeded my ability to take care of my animals ever. So I could have never predicted that life was gonna go in the way that it did. Like, I never ever would have thought that I would ever be battling with addiction. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would get into a relationship like that. Never in my wildest dreams ever thought I would deal with addiction. Drugs were never even something I thought about until it all happened. Like, it all happened so fast. And for a while I was still able to keep up with things. I mean, I was so close to that cliff of everything just falling apart, but I was able to still juggle things for a little bit. And then by the time 2019 came around, it got so bad. And like I said, I've been very fortunate with not just even my animals, like take outside of that situation. The fact that my family let me go back and live with them, and that even throughout struggling with addiction, they let me stay. Everything could have gone so different. I think it's the main reason that I got my life back on track when I did. But that's not to say that if I didn't have those things that it would be impossible to recover. It is never impossible. No matter your life situation, you always can get better. You are strong. Your life matters no matter what. I'm just talking about my particular situation and why I was able to keep the animals that I did keep. Anyway, back to other me. I don't take the help I had for granted because I could have lost everything. I could have had to rehome all my animals and it would have been so heartbreaking, but you have to realize that that's the strong choice to make. That's not the weak choice. It's not giving up on them. Life happens and you're making sure they're safe, and that's love. Yeah, just wanted to make a quick video talking about that a little bit and talking about help is okay, and that while I do think animals can be great for mental health, you have to know where the line is. You know, if you're losing the ability to take care of other living things, it's okay to ask for help. It's just making sure that they have the best chances to have a great life. Knowing what it felt like to go through that, I would never want another living being to experience what I was putting myself through. So it would break my heart to imagine any of my animals having to suffer in that way from me not being able to give them the care that they need. So that's just some more info on why I rehomed so many of my animals and how I took care of the ones that I did keep while I was going through that time. In my mind, I thought I was keeping up with them just like I used to, just like as if, you know, oh, I'm depressed and I'm taking it out on myself, but my animals are still getting the exact same care. I don't know if that was reality or not, but I know I made sure to have other people come in and verify that the animals are as healthy as they should be. Like I said, you might have to rehome them, even if it's just temporarily, but just make sure that your animals are getting the best care that they can. And that if you feel like your life is falling apart, just make sure to keep your animals in mind. Know where the line is between it being a beneficial situation to have them around even when you're depressed, because it absolutely can be, versus I'm getting too far into this that I can no longer care for them properly. But yeah, that's just a quick video. I'm supposed to be traveling again in like a week, in less than a week. I'm supposed to be traveling again, driving to Florida. I still haven't decided if I'm doing that yet. If so, I'm gonna try to film a couple more videos before I go and then edit them while I'm there and post them throughout that time. I want to go, but the thing is traveling just takes so much out of me. I go somewhere, like driving to California and driving back. I've been resting for like a month since then, it feels like. Maybe like 3 weeks, I don't know. I've been resting so much since then, it just knocks the life out of me. So it's just like, do I want to do that again when I'm finally just now settling back into things? I don't know. I've been having a lot of revelations lately that, you know, it feels like the whole world is imploding on itself. I feel like what tomorrow can bring is so unpredictable at this point, and there's so many things I want to do with my life that I haven't let myself explore whatsoever. And I want to start letting myself explore those things a little more. I might start putting things out on my channel that aren't just solely animal related. I mean, we'll see. It'll be gradual if I do that. It won't just be like immediate. Animals are always going to be the core part of my channel. I adore my animals and I love working with them and sharing them with an audience that can enjoy them too. But yeah, there's just more I want to do with my life too, and I want to explore those things. So might start getting a couple different kinds of videos coming out. We'll see. I spent so long getting lost in this cycle of like, what do I think will make the audience happy, and trying to present myself in the best way possible and all this stuff, just getting so locked in on how I'm being perceived that I lost the fun of it along the way at some point. So I'm just trying to get back into doing like whatever I feel like doing. So we'll see, whatever happens. Take care of your mental health. You matter, you're important. Do what you gotta do for the sake of your own well-being and to make sure that your animals stay safe during the process. So, you wanna say bye, Maui? Wanna say bye? Here. Wanna say bye? Okay.